Hi everyone, this is Keizo. This is Keizo Ishii from Coca-Cola Japan. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to talk to all of you. First of all, in this crisis period, I hope you and your families stayed safe. And well, fortunately, we have a really good online event like eLog Asia. And I hope all of you enjoy these sessions and getting some learnings from my session. So let me start sharing my presentation. And goes to presentation mode. All right, so today's topic is data-driven decision on e-commerce operation. So before going to data-driven decisions, let me talk about Coca-Cola Japan and myself. First of all, Coca-Cola has 133 years history, and our headquarters is Atlanta, Georgia in the US. We have 200 plus business in the 200 plus countries and areas in the world. And we have many bottling partners, employees, and plants and retail customers. A little bit about myself. I'm currently Vice President of Digital for Coca-Cola Japan, and I started my career in Coca-Cola in September last year. Before Coca-Cola, I was GM of Expedia Japan as a general manager and leading entire Japan operations for 3.5 years. And before that, I was working in Estee Lauder companies, AIGs, Amazon, and AOL. So let's talk about data-driven decision on e-commerce logistics. So first of all, I like to look at the definition of data and data-driven decisions. When I talk about data, a lot of people start talking about statistics reporting. Of course, reporting is a big part of data and important way to use data. But data is data. If we stop with reporting to leverage data, and data is nothing, it doesn't produce any productive things. More important part of data usage is to connect with actions. How to make actions based on data is true objective of using data. Based on that concept, please refer to the figure at the bottom of the screen. This is the current environment we have anywhere in the world among B2C companies and B2B companies. The company who has direct interface with end consumer is always B2C companies. On the other hand, most of B2B companies are not facing end consumers and calling retailers as customers. But the core of the business is always end consumers. And every time the trend of shopping behavior is changed among end consumers, entire business environment in the industry will be changed. And B2C companies always catch that information quickly and control the industry during B2B companies do not have action on those changes. That causes breaking power balance between B2C company and B2B company. Well, some smart B2B companies start shifting and enlarging their B2C business to catch up end consumers trend. Nike is the typical example. They stopped working with Amazon, then they started enlarging their direct online business on their brand site. Then quickly move to the next slide. This is how to make the data-driven decision on e-commerce operation. So now topic moves to how to make data-driven decision. I always like to think the business with 3 layers approach. First layer is always objective. Second layer is strategies. Then final layer is action plans. So let me leverage this thinking structure for this presentation too. So what's the objective of data-driven decision? My personal view on this is we mainly have two objectives on data-driven decision. One, to increase sales share. Two, to optimize operation. Increasing sales share is mainly data-driven decision on front end. We make predictive estimation to make strategy and action plan to increase sales share. Because we need to predict the market, this objective is more advanced option to use data. In the meantime, optimizing operation is back-end side objective. And it can be the quick win option to start data-driven decision. So I highly recommend for you to start this part. Simply think just replacing the work people are doing now with machines to implement. We can simply imagine we can cut operational cost. Well, of course, we need to consider amortization cost on system development. However, it always makes the profitable return. Believe me, and it is very profitable way to use data. So now, next topic is how to look at the data. This is very interesting part of my presentation. It's also related with company's governance. Now we start talking about how to look at data. Many cases in B2B companies, they analyze data based on the product lines or maybe divisions. Many companies have separated entity under holding company, or with some reason, they don't exchange data among vertical organizations, division to divisions, entity to entities. But I think we should completely need to change the way to look at data. So the base to look at the data is not organization. It is the right way to look at the data. Base we need to look at the data is end consumers. So also we have separated entities or divisions in your organization. We always need to look at data with end consumer base, like right figure. So then we can create some shipping behavior patterns and we can approach to end consumer properly with this way to look at the data. It will retain more consumers and it will acquire a lot of new customers in the future. And a lot of successful B2C company is doing this way. The typical example is Amazon. Now we are moving to what kind of data we need to look at. We discussed how to look at data in the previous slide. And I will explain about what kind of data we need to look at in this slide. So I have worked in two large IT companies in IT industries in my career, AOL and Amazon. Around year 2000, both companies are leading companies in internet industries. Well, all over the world, I guess. But I saw a big difference between these two companies, Amazon and AOL, on data treatment. AOL is a world-leading internet provider company. They stick with PII, and their idea on data is basically how to expand membership. On the other hand, Amazon did never put attention on PII. They just focused on consumer behavior data. For example, if both 70-year-old man and 20-year-old lady look at the same golf club product page, Amazon makes same marketing action to both customers. If you stick with PII, you can never reach to the same marketing action to those two different customers because most of the case, 20-year-old lady and 70-year-old man has different actions and behavior. But on this particular case, they are same segment. That is the way Amazon is treating for the consumer data. And that difference on data treatment made the bright and dark side of life for both companies now. My conclusion is definitely we should put more focus on consumer behavior data than PII. But just for your correct understanding, I'm not saying PII is not important. Of course, PII is important data and important asset for a company. However, the most important part to improve your e-commerce business is consumer behavior. So I like to talk about how to leverage those data. So based on the discussion we have today, now where we can improve the operation on e-commerce logistics. And this is the slide I'm going to explain now. So this is the strategy part. After looking at two objectives, then to increase sales, we have three strategies to increase sales share. First area is production. Based on the predictive estimation, we optimize the production plan. Also, we can expect to leverage that data for new product development, and you can develop the timely product for the consumers and markets. Second area we can improve is pricing. We can pick the best pricing point based on the data. Can also find the best way to communicate with consumers, either coupons, discounting, or loyalties program. Always data tells you best way to communicate with consumers. Pricing is another great strategy to increase sales. In order to make more targeted pricing strategy, I highly recommend to implement geo-targeting. Then you can make pricing strategies sharper. In the meantime, the strategy to optimize the operation is route to market is the first strategy. Estimate frequency of delivery and find the best profit point during logistic operation. That is very important part of logistics by leveraging data. And finally, the inventory management is another important point to optimize your operation and profitability on e-commerce business. Set the right threshold range to reduce bad inventory and warehouse management cost. You can be too aggressive, but you cannot be too conservative. Data tells you right management way. So after talking about those strategies, now I will give you some tips. I have experience in the past as a use case. So I'm gonna introduce you two use cases from my experience for concrete action plan. So first of all, first use case is I introduce is direct shipping example. Currently, a lot of companies have many inventory centers to shorten the shipping period, or to avoid out of stock opportunity. Even if the business is offline business, the situation should be the same. maintaining multiple inventory center, it costs a lot to the company, costs a lot of money for daily operation. By leveraging data, I recommend to attach shipping function on your plant or factory to directly ship the product to customer or consumers instead of having multiple inventory center nationwide. Because the objective to have multiple inventory center is to shorten the shipping period and also try to reduce out of stock opportunity. But if you can optimize your data to make a data-driven decision for the shipping, inventory management, you don't have to have multiple inventory center nationwide. One inventory center is good enough for your business. So we don't have to have more inventory center near customer. Data will resolve to shorten shipping period. Then we can optimize warehouse cost and we can be more profitable on e-commerce business. All right, so move to the next use case I have. Another use case I can introduce today is multi-dimension targeting. I face the opportunity having too many bad inventory during we are working on e-commerce operation daily basis. We cannot avoid bad inventory, right? Well, it's not every time, but we sometimes have a lot of bad inventory. So if we can naturally reduce bad inventory, it is ideal case to fix the problem. However, many cases we cannot reduce naturally. So we need to make something to reduce those inventories. We need clear action plan. In that case, we need to take action to reduce bad inventory and make the daily warehouse operation back to normal. By leveraging data, I recommend to optimize pricing by places. So I'm talking about geo-targeting. E-commerce operation trends to put same pricing for nationwide. However, geo-targeting will optimize profitability on e-commerce operation. Based on the data, AI or algo can provide the best action we need to take. Either keeping liability from bad inventory or reduce some profit by discounting action to reduce bad inventory, or maybe combination of both. But always data-driven decision makes the most profitable decision on e-commerce logistic operations. So I highly recommend to do this to reduce your bad inventories. In the case you have a lot of bad inventory in your warehouse. So these are two use cases I can introduce today. So finally, I like to give you the summary and the conclusion from my session. So first of all, I learned data. What is data? Objective of data-driven decision is not making the statics report. Automate logistic operation based on the data is true objective. That means how to create action from data. That is the final objective for us. And we have two ways to leverage the data, two objectives. The one is make predictive estimation to increase sales, increase market share. That is the first objective. And second objective is replace human resource, human cost with system on operation for cost reduction. So replaced works by human with system. Third one is way to look at data. Don't stick with companies' organizations, governance. Data should be analyzed with cross-functional way based on consumers. So we should look at the data always based on end consumer basis. Then finally, data we need to focus is consumer behavior data. don't stick with PII too much. The combination of PII and the consumer behavior data will create best strategy for e-commerce, and it will create the best operation for e-commerce. So my conclusion today is we can categorize the logistic improvement process into two areas. The one is to increase sales by optimizing product development, pricing, and geo-targeting. Second one is to improve operation to cut expense by optimizing shipping operation and inventory management. So this is all from my side today, and I hope you enjoy my presentation. See you soon. Bye now.